now. I'm just waiting on Jimmy to come in. But yeah, it had a power surge, and we're back. And hope everybody gets back on. Gonna give it a few seconds, let it build up. Oh, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Let me text Jimmy, let him know we back up. Should be 30 seconds on. Yes, we're back. Who else on here with me? Who else with me? Let me see who on here with me. What's up? Hey, Karen. Karen, they trying to stop. Hey, they trying to stop us, Karen. But guess what? We got a backup plan for them now. We back, Jimmy. We already live. We already live, Jimmy. We're back. But have you got Chris yet? Welcome back to the Chop Shop. This part 2 on a Tuesday. Jimmy, what you got Chris lined up? What you got? Because we back.
He's coming. Okay. I think so.
Okay. And but finish your story about TJ, because it was interesting and compelling. Because I was one of the ones that thought, because I didn't know. But that's what I've learned. If a guy don't have a chance, sometimes don't have a chance, we won't know how good he is. And I was one of the guys who Jimmy that wanted a coach like Tang or somebody, and then somebody texted me and said, "No, Rob, this dude good enough." And so yes, it's gonna clear up in a minute, Jimmy. It's gonna get strong in a second. But finish talking to us about TJ.
Yeah, and I'll tell you TJ, and that's TJ Johnson.
Yeah,
and he's he's the head coach over at Texas State. Well, and as I mentioned, TJ was coaching grassroots basketball. Mm-hmm. And that's the avenue that a lot of coaches took to relight their candle, to reinvent and reintroduce themselves to a lot of college coaches who may have been out there watching or out there that they know about. And also what it does, it helps cultivate relationships. You see, being if you're a grassroots coach, then you want to get with a program normally. If you're a college coach that's volunteering as a grassroots coach, mm-hmm. then you get with a program that's kind of like that has talent. Bottom line, you get with a program that has talent, that has recruitable players to the level of which you are trying to go. And I mentioned that TJ's with Texas Pro, they had a sneaker sponsorship mm-hmm. at the time with Adidas when Nigel played with them, if I'm not mistaken. And Nigel from Beaumont, the old Beaumont Central, they went to the state championship. Mm-hmm. Beaumont Central did. Mm-hmm. In class, and I think in 5A, 4A, whatever it was at the time, they moved things up. So the Southland Conference, Danny Casper, you see some of the talent, you see TJ, you had to go through him if you want some of those players. Mm-hmm. And Marlon Lowe, remember, it wasn't just Nigel. He had a little Moose who's still there that played for Texas Pro. Mm-hmm. Name is Marlon Davis, Westbury Christian. Mm-hmm. And we understand this is really important. I'm talking about TJ. And TJ was a situation where he came in there with resistance. And I got Chris Walker coming in just a second, if he can just his background together. Now if we get his background together, Helen, then we get him right. Now, now, Chris, welcome to the Chop Shop. Guys that are watching right now, we have a special treat for y'all. We got Chris Walker, the original founder of the Chop Shop, is back in the flesh, who's in the broadcast booth of CBS Sports at the time, a college coach of 2 decades plus at the Division I level. I don't think Chris never coached under the Division I. He coached Division I level. Also, Chris Walker got a sneaker deal That's not many people in the United States. You know, you can count how many NBA people. There are not many people that can honestly say that they actually had a sneaker sponsorship in grassroots basketball. Not many. Seriously. I would say on the estimate, I would say probably 500 people. Maybe about 500 people to 600 in history.
And Jimmy, and like the young lady, his co-host, so eloquently put it last night, former head coach for Texas Tech. She said that about 4 times during the broadcast, Chris, last night. And I like that. I like the way you handled that.
What'd she say?
She just said the former head coach from Texas Tech. I mean, Texas Tech is a Power 5. So, of course, and Chris, man, that jacket was too tight, man.
His jacket was too tight?
Yeah. He can't hear me. I said, man, I cannot breathe. He had a little sweater vest on.
Only had her, man. Only had her.
Man, I said, I'm sitting. Hey, you know I watched Jimmy. Hey, let me tell you something, Jimmy. I taped the whole, because he said he was going to be on there all night, right? So, but when it's a women's basketball game came on in between, Chris, and y'all go off the set. What do you do when you go off the set? You go in the green room. What do you do?
You got like a area there with the producers where you got like 15 TVs and all you're doing is watching basketball the whole time, trying to get your thoughts right and see what's going on with every single game. It's a 24-hour process, man. It's intense. It's intense.
Yeah.
Now, Chris, we were talking about TJ Johnson, and TJ Johnson is the head coach at Texas State. This past week, they are fresh off of winning their side of the conference. Matter of fact, they had the best record in the entire conference, the Sun Belt, that is. TJ did not coach the last game. And you mentioned, and y'all ran a piece on CBS, whereas the scene after the game, Benny Seltzer coached the team to the victory. They came out of the tunnel to get ready to get on the bus. TJ, and tell us what had happened, Chris. Paint that narrative picture for us.
I mean, it was a nice deal, man. The kids came out. He's blowing his horn. They're jumping on top of it, and as we're going off the set, I told them in the production meeting. I said, "Man, listen, I want to shout this dude out." They said, "Hey, man." I'm like, "For real?" They said, "Yeah." So as we're going off, I was like, "Give that man the job. Give him the job," because I know what it feels like to be in a situation like TJ. I wasn't as successful as TJ in that situation, but at the end of the day, I'm just saying, as I said yesterday, if the former coach was there, he won the league, right? Because it's very hard to win a championship. Mm-hmm. And it's ridiculously hard to win when you're the interim coach. Think about it. When you're the interim coach, kids don't know if you're going to be the boss. You got to think about what it's like to discipline somebody or to hold playing time over somebody when they know, particularly this year, when kids know they got an extra year if they want. And they got a guy that they don't know is going to be the head coach the next year. So think about those dynamics and a staff. Think about that dynamic for a second, what someone's dealing with. You're not the head coach. You weren't the head coach. You might have recruited the players, but I don't know if he would have recruited the same players that Danny Casper liked. Who knows?
Interesting.
He knocked it out the park. Won the league. A championship, right? Do you know if the former coach had won the championship, they will be talking about giving him an extension, more years to be the coach. How is it when this guy wins the league, we're sitting here with our hands in our pocket? Now think about that. What that dude did is absolutely off the charts. Off the charts. Sometimes, man, it's kind of like last night, right? It happened a couple times this weekend. I don't know if people are watching, right? Xavier's best player, Nate Johnson, got hurt. And they were playing, I want to say they were playing Creighton, who's playing, trying to make it, trying to win the Big East. They go out without their best player, win. Sharif Cooper, who they're saying is supposed to be a top 20 draft pick. Don't ask me why, but that's what they're saying. The little kid from Atlanta.
Yeah.
They're playing at Tennessee on the road. who's playing for the NCAA tournament, who's ranked. Win. Last night, I forget the kid's name right now, it escapes me. He was Nebraska's best player. Leading scorer, says he's going to focus on other stuff. Doesn't play. Nebraska's in last place. They're playing at Rutgers. They're playing at home against Rutgers, who's going to be a 7th-seed tournament, and beat them damn near 30. So what I'm saying is, now what the point I'm making is, and the connection is, you never know when you find a gem, a diamond in the rough. So if this doesn't happen to Danny Casper, whether it was right or wrong, good, bad, or indifferent, we don't even know TJ is this kind of guy. So Texas State has got a gem right now that just, I don't know how many times they won the Sun Belt, that won them a championship. You know what I'm saying? Pressure makes diamonds, guys. Pressure makes diamonds.
Great point.
And that's what that dude did.
I mean, and the thing is now, what do you think the holdup is? You've been around, Chris. You've been in different staffs. What can cause the administration to prolong the process even after you've already won first place in your conference? TJ has recruited. TJ, and I mentioned earlier, his fingerprints is on at least 6 of those scholarship players, meaning he directly recruited at least 6 of them.
Guys, if we're gonna chop it up, let's chop it up. Right now, I'm not intimately there at Texas State to know what's going on in the hierarchy, but I do know that we're in the business of athletics and we're in the business of winning. And all I'm saying is, when you hear, and I go a little bit controversial, and I'm just talking about what's out there. I'm not making this up or picking a side, but you guys know what side I'm on. When you have a school like the University of Texas that's holding on to a school song that supposedly is offensive to kids of color, people that are out there bawling in your revenue-producing sports. There's only 2 revenue-producing sports in college sports. That's football and men's basketball. They're the only ones that produce revenue. The kids that play those sports, in both those sports, those demographics are 70% African American. But yet you want to play a song that's offensive to them. Because why? You know why, Jimmy? Because the university runs based on the people that have the money, the donors. That's what it is. And forget about University of Texas. This goes on a lot of places, but it's happening there. And it's really some stuff is coming to light, as they say. You know, some things build character, some things reveal character. Right now, some character being revealed in Austin. What's really going on? The same thing is happening right there at Texas State. Something's being revealed about what's really going on there. Because if the head coach that was there formerly had won the league, they'd be singing his praises. Okay. They'd have him on a parade, and there'd be the Dairy Queen to have his sign when you drive through town. But when this guy wins, you got your fingers in your pocket, you got your hands in your pocket. So there's a buddy of mine, and I won't say his name, and you guys can do the math. They've won 2 of the last 4 national championships. He interviewed for a job, right? And I'm like, okay, if the guys at Duke, Johnny Dawkins gets a Stanford job, Tommy Amber gets the Seton Hall job or the Michigan job, Chris Collins gets Northwestern, Wojo gets Marquette, Capel gets Pitt. All came from Duke. My boy comes from a certain school, won't say what it is. They've won 2 of the last 4 championships. He's going for a job in a league that's nothing like those leagues. He loses to a guy. So this, you got to understand, this is 2 national championships, 6 conference championships in the last 6 years, and 3 Final Fours. If you take the names, now he's a different hue than the other guy. If you take the names and reverse them, they'll be like, we're definitely hiring that guy. Are you kidding me? But we're definitely hiring that guy.
Chris?
Switch him back and put him to my guy, you know what they say? Wow, we got to think about that.
Chris, you don't have to say the guy's name.
I'm going to throw this to you, Hatter.
Okay.
So that's why yesterday, when I'm listening to Shannon Sharp about Mike Tomlin and the Rooney Rule, I was like, hold on. And guys, this is about education. Here's something I didn't know. So they're talking about the hiring process of blacks. They put something out there the other day that says that the NFL has hired more blacks than they've ever hired. Okay, that's fine. But Mike Tomlin, who's been the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, has never had an African-American coordinator on either side. And yet he's saying that the NFL hasn't gone far enough. Now, we're dealing with craziness.
Chris.
Chris. Like, I'm just saying, like, I went a couple different ways, but
no, that's
kind of
good.
what you had a point you're trying to make.
No, I was trying to say, you don't have to say his name, but I can say his name. You didn't want to mention the coach's name. I can say his name is Kyle Neptune. Come on, man. I'm going to show you why, Chris. I'm going to show you why.
Jimmy, two chips, Jimmy. If Mike Wilson had won 2 championships and he was at Texas A&M, we'd be trying to etch his name in the university and give him whatever he wants. And he'd be the head coach at whatever school he could pick, right or wrong.
Chris, I just put something on the screen for you, right? The ABIS,
man.
The ABIS, Jimmy. Black coaches, right? And
the black coaches watch list, and in alphabetical order, it has Red Autry from Syracuse, it had Jeff Battle from Providence, Jason Hart over at USC, Colin Hardman at Oklahoma, and Colin gave a very heartfelt speech during the funeral services of Lou Hill last week. Colin, great guy.
Keep going.
Carl Hobbs at Rutgers.
Kyle is on this list, Jimmy. The reason I brought it, Kyle is on this list.
And I'm just reading them off to Chris in case he's not watching.
Okay.
Van Macon, St. John's.
You ain't got to read that list. I got them all on speed dial. I know exactly who all of them are.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous. I'm talking about dudes that been in the business. Guys, y'all got to realize, man, before I got a shot, I've been in the business 17 years, four or five times associate head coach, and worked in every Power 5 league except the Big Ten. And I had to have a coach make a mistake for me to become the head coach. That's what we're dealing with. And I'm not asking, no one's asking for handouts, guys. And this is not by no means a complaining session. I make my own way. I don't, promotion does not come from man. So I don't worry about that. It is what it is. But you know what? Fairness is what I want. I want things to be fair. And if you're telling me that in sports or in these different sports where predominantly the kids that participated in the 50s and 60s were white, it is what it is. We're just talking about history. We're not trying to, be mean here. And the same thing in football, we're white, and now 70% are African American. Okay, well, all of the coaches that were coaching back then were white. So why is it that only 10% of the coaches can be the decision makers? And that's why, me and one of my guys, you guys know Alan Branch, we had a real intense, hey, Branch, we don't need any more players, man. We don't need any more players. We got plenty of players. We need some decision makers. We need some ADs. We need some black donors. That's another thing we got to teach black people about. Donors, the people that give money, and how do I love this because he's big into politics. If you want to change something, complaining don't change nothing. You know what changed things? Money. You know what changed things? Involvement, knowledge. You got to get into politics, right? You got to be on the right side of politics. Yeah. Complaining and being mad don't change nothing. Laws. If you want to change the laws, you got to change what, Hatter? The lawmakers.
That's right.
If you want more black people to get jobs, we got to make sure we get some of these kids, like Robert Hatterson, he got to be on the board at Cornell.
Yeah.
He ain't got to be the best player. He ain't got to be the player of the year. We got too many kids trying to play. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got enough people trying to decide. So what I'm saying is, I don't know what the heck's going on in Texas State. So I don't want to, besmirch Texas State. It's just very peculiar to me that this is, and he could be getting a deal. But you know what I also know? Right? When I watch stuff like First Take and all these different shows, they start putting pressure on stuff. Jimmy, when we used to say this, whenever Stephen A. talk about it at 10 o'clock, it's changed by 1 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? So maybe the chop shop and what you guys are doing are bringing some attention to it and make people talk about it.
Yes.
Maybe that goes out people. But at the end of the day, if you wanna know what's going on, you gotta follow the what, Jimmy?
The money.
You gotta follow the money. You gotta follow the money.
Hey, first,
Somebody with the money is saying no.
Hey, what Tony Montana said, Chris? First you get the money, then you get the power.
That's right.
Then you get the girls.
Exactly.
Dude was
Money
running after
first.
girls. He said, get the money first, baby.
You get the money first, man. The money is what brings everything. So, that's kind of stuff that bothers me because I know how hard it is. And guys, I'm saying again, like, it's nothing against white coaches or anything like that. You know what thing that amazes me? Oh my God, this guy's a great coach. Well, guys, if you only give white coaches a chance, well, only white coaches will have the record. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that we can't coach, but unfortunately, it makes brothers feel like, damn, we can't do that. Well, I feel like, well, guess what? I just a chance. So let's look at my career. Let's look at his career. What's the difference? Oh, he got a chance.
So, Chris,
that's all we're asking for, guys.
So you saying how we change this thing?
The MEAC and the SWAC. So there's 350 Division I schools. If you extract the MEAC and the SWAC, and kudos to Byron Smith, and I'm gonna make sure I give him some love when I get back on TV because they've won like 10 straight. Who's hot? Who they? It's just that it's looked at differently. Even the coach at Jackson State, they've been doing well as well. And Kevin Brodus over at Morgan State.
Yes.
If you look at the MEAC and the SWAC and you take those 20 coaches out, because all those coaches are predominantly going to always be black.
Okay.
Dude, if you look at the Power 5, Power 6 leagues in basketball, now other than the Big East, because the Big East got about 4 or 5 black coaches. If you just go Power 5, Pac-12, Big 12, SEC, ACC, and Big 10, count how many black coaches there are. It will blow your mind.
No, it won't. It won't blow.
And how about this, Hatter? If you stay in football, it'll blow it even more.
Oh.
So the question is this, guys. This is what we ask ourselves because the TJ thing is a good thing. Is it us or is it them? Because because the players are on the field, guys, right? The black players are on the field.
Right.
Bruce Arians already showed y'all. What did Bruce Arians show us, Hatter? Bruce Arians always showed us that, I got Bob Leftwich and I got my man
Todd Bowles. You got Todd Bowles. I mean, we've talked about that on that show.
On the side, and we won the championship. Y'all can talk that Tom Brady crap all you want, okay? We won the championship. People forget Tampa Bay was 7-5, before they made that run.
Yeah.
So, and then you got my frat brother, the enemy.
Yep.
Interviewed 16 times, guys. 16 times. He got Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
And the Philadelphia Eagles hired the offensive coordinator of the Eagles. And the Detroit Lions hired a guy, Dan Johnson, who wasn't even a coordinator. Like, guys,
tight end coach.
Like, we gotta see these things for what they are. But you know what we'll do, Hatter? And I'm gonna leave it alone because I know I've been there, Jimmy.
No.
If a black coach comes in and says, hey, there's nothing wrong with playing. I want if he is a Power 5 and assistant coaches, we're put into a dilemma because, you're going to be a black head coach one day. It's not hey, I know where you come from. I know your struggle. I know what it's like to be this and that. You should come play for me. And then you'll have a black assistant coach who works for a white coach. You know what he'll say? Oh, man, that don't really matter. Man, that don't matter. That doesn't matter until they become a head coach.
Mm. But tell me this, Chris. Chris, can you hear me?
Chris, but again, when we see a guy like TJ, and here's my thing. I'm gonna tell you another guy it's blasphemous that hasn't got the head coaching job yet. You know who that is? Jerome Kane.
Yes.
Blasphemous. I mean, it's egregious that dude's not a head coach yet. Shameful, man. It's just shameful what goes on in this business. So they can have all the Zooms they want. They can form whatever committees they want, guys. But until we get more black donors that are giving money, right? Until we got more people of influence that are in the big chair, it's not going to change. I hate to say that. But anyway, go on.
Can you hear me? Chris, can you hear me? That's the only way it would change, Chris. Chris, can you hear me? Because Jimmy stepped off the screen, but Jim, I just want to make sure you can hear me, Chris. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Well, we I was just sitting there even talking about Mike Tomlin the other day in that interview. Gumble, why didn't Gumble ask him that question?
Should have.
Why didn't he ask? I thought that should. If y'all on here talking about that stuff, why you never had a black coordinator? But guess what, Chris? This combo
you know what he said?
Huh?
Because we promote from within. And it wasn't true because he brought other people from outside in. Do you know when Mike Tomlin got the Pittsburgh Steelers job that they weren't even thinking about that dude?
I know.
That dude went in and wowed them. You're
Yes.
talking about the guy at the team that has the Rooney Rule named after him.
Yes.
See, we don't have to be ashamed to talk about race. You know the only time they talk about race on TV? You know when that is? When do they talk about race and they talk about the things that affect this country and affect our communities? The only time they talk about it is what time? Every 4 years when it comes to elections. That's the only time they want to talk about race.
Right.
And that's the only time it's okay to talk about race. But any other time, we don't want to talk about it. The funding that goes to certain schools, right, that they take away based on who's living in that demographic or redlining. Like they take that, they don't want to talk about that stuff till it's election time.
But I got a question, kid. Chris, hold on, Chris. I got a question. We know the problem. How does a young man, if he played in sports, he don't play in sports. How does a young man go about that? Because guess what? You just hit me when you mentioned we got to have guys like Lil Robert in these positions. How do young men go about not just I want to be a coach, not just want to be a player all the time? How do I go about being getting an administration of a school? Do I need to go back to school? Okay, I got my my master. I got my BA undergraduate. Do I go back and get a master's? Do I go back and get a doctorate? How do I become a president of a university? How do I become an AD of a university? We don't talk about that. How do these young guys become decision makers so the future we won't be on the phone? We won't be here talking about them because I talked about Ruth Simmons yesterday, Chris. That's the lady. That's the lady who is. I think she's the president at Prairie View now. She was the president of Brown. She worked at Princeton. Chris, let me show you how influential she is. When she got hired at Princeton, Chris, she hired Cornel West and Toni Morrison. Okay, and Nell Painter. These powerful academics. But Chris, let me show you something though. When Prairie View got a $50 million endowment from Mackenzie Scott, that's Jeff Bezos' ex-wife, right?
Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos. I was wondering, how did that happen? Toni Morrison was her teacher at Princeton. Chris Walker. Toni Morrison influenced this woman. And Toni Morrison would have never been there if Ruth Simmons had not got her hired there.
Amen. You know, Hatter, you know what I call that, Hatter? I call that gatekeeping. There are some black people that, because we're fighting. Here's the deal. We're fighting against something that's very systemic, that's very hard to overcome. Because like in television and in management and in corporate America or in tech, they only going to let so many of us through the door, right?
Okay.
That's just how it works. And that's why the crabs in the bucket theory comes from. At least my life is better than yours, right? And so when they do that, the person that gets through the door decides I can't help too many. I can't get too many of us in here. Kind of like Mike Tomlin. I don't want to black this thing up. Or if they bring them in, that's going to lessen me. I'm not going to be the star no more. So we gatekeep, right? Instead of having gatekeepers, we need to have gate openers. Like gate openers. So I'm gonna give you an example. If you watch MSNBC, right? They got rid of Melissa Harris Perry. Remember how the Melissa Harris Perry? The one that had the little dreads and all that stuff?
Yes.
She was too controversial. But I used to like her. They put in Joy Reid. And for a long time, I watched Fox, NBC, CNN. The only one I really know of is Don Lemon. Right? I'm like, Don Lemon was the only black dude. Then they got Charles Payne, that you know what, on Fox. So now I'm like, hold on, man. This is crazy. Like we're watching the news and the three major networks. There's nobody that represents us. So then all of a sudden, an African American lady, I forget her name, I'm ashamed I don't know her name, becomes the executive at MSNBC, and then all of a sudden, and Al Sharpton only comes on the weekend, Politics Nation, and then guess what happened? Joy Reid, because Chris, I can't remember Chris's name. He makes that comment.
Chris Matthews.
They got to get rid of him. Joy Reid gets to get into the evening slot, and then Jonathan Capehart and what's the girl with the short hair on MSNBC on the weekend? Oh my God!
You talking about Tamara?
Not Tamara, but the girl. She got the short hair. She comes on Saturday. Jonathan Capehart comes on.
Yeah, you talking about early in the morning? What's her name?
Tiffany
Tiffany
Cross.
Tiffany Cross, the cross something.
Yeah.
But because that lady is in that position at MSNBC, she's gate opening. Because if you're telling Chris Walker, Joe Biden, the president of the United States, who was left for dead in Iowa, in New Hampshire, whatever it was, the next primary, in South Carolina, and Joe Clyburn saved him, and then we saved Raphael Arnott.
Yeah.
And we're the reason why we got a chance to get this COVID relief bill passed, because we got 51-50 because of Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
And we're the difference in all them different states where they're like Wisconsin and Philadelphia and those places, and where they're trying to change the rules in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Because we voted.
Yeah.
How are we not represented in the mass media? How are we not represented? How is it that TJ is not the head coach?
Chris,
when we got 30% of the kids that are playing that are African American, you don't think African American coaches should be influencing something when there's 70% of us are participants? We got to look at this thing differently. I'm not saying that I'm not anti-white or I'm not racist. It has nothing to do with that. All I'm saying is right. Y'all tell me.
Chris, I want to add something. Chris, I want to add something.
Alice adding something to it, Chris.
I want to add something and help you, Chris. And I don't never want you to forget this name again. That woman who you said as a gate opener, her name is Rashida Jones. Don't you ever forget that, the head of NBC, NSNBC. Yeah. Rashida Jones. She's a former national black journalist, and she is the boss, and that's why you see all these black faces on there. Rashida Jones. So don't forget that no more. I just wanted to help. I know you forgot her name, but put that one in your notes. Rashida Jones. I was trying to help you, but you was keep talking. So carry on.
No, I could. Yeah, no, it's all good. If I could see you, I could have shut
I know.
See you, so it's really hard, but I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to know that though. But you know what, Hatter? You know what that is? That's Black History too.
Yes. Yes. Jimmy. Hey, Chris, I honored her one day on the Chop Shop on Women Rock Wednesday. She was our honoree that day. I talked about her enough. And Chris, what I've been trying to do is give people breadcrumbs. Like that information about Rashida Jones. I want people to go look her up now. If you didn't go look her up when I said it, let me see what date I gave you out in. I know the date I gave you that information. December the 8th, I gave that information. On December the 8th. And Chris, we need more gate openers. So Chris, and I know you say it's hard, but Chris, if a woman like Ruth Simmons can navigate herself to be the president of Brown and be the president of Smith College, why can't a man or why can't another black woman navigate those waters?
I think they can. I don't think they can't not do it.
Okay.
My whole focus is that we have to really have an honest conversation about what's important to us as African Americans.
Okay.
Right?
Gotcha.
It is like if we really sat a kid down and asked them, hey, would you rather be LeBron James or Barack Obama? If you had 100 black kids, what do you think they would say?
LeBron James.
That we got to understand why that's the case. Like, what's going on there? Would you rather be Michelle Obama or you rather be Rihanna?
I got you.
We have to ask ourselves, why is it that we think that way? Right?
We like popular.
If you ask a kid from another hue, would you rather be John Bon Jovi or would you rather be Steve Ballmer? What do you think they say?
Steve Ballmer.
You see what I'm saying? Or would you rather be John Bon Jovi or would you rather be Mark Zuckerberg?
Yeah.
We have to ask ourselves, why is it that the NBA is 75% black and Google's only 3% black? We got to have real conversation. It ain't about them all the time, man. You know, change comes from the inside out, man, not the outside in. Yeah, there's some external things that can be helpful. Anytime you got a bump on your skin or something like that, yes, they sell topical creams to make it go away. But usually there's something going on the inside.
Yes, sir.
And it's manifesting itself on the outside.
Hush your mouth.
So what we're seeing manifested is stuff that's happening on the outside. But we got to look in the mirror and be like, yo, what is inside that's allowing this to keep happening? Because, Heather, when we put our mind to something,
we can do
Jay-Z, billionaire.
Yeah.
Dr. Dre, billionaire. They didn't go to school. I mean, I can name a bunch of dudes that figured it out now.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime we put our, even these guys that play sports, they want our culture, man. We got a great culture. The problem is a lot of us are too busy peacocking. And what I mean by peacocking is we're too interested in what it looks like instead of what it is like. I gotta make sure I look the right way. Well, this ain't gonna look right. I gotta make sure I'm on Instagram. I gotta show my purple Lamborghini. It's nonsense and it's silly. But unfortunately, our kids are very impressive.
Hold on, Chris.
And Chris,
yeah, go on.
I'm glad you said that. I'm gonna show you. Rick Wilmore, your boy Rick Wilmore just said Rihanna's net worth is more than Michelle's, though. He laughing. I feel you, though. It's not about Michelle Obama. Hold on, Chris.
This is what Rick don't understand. They
Michelle,
got a better chance of being Michelle, an educated black woman, right? Because she got a nice. There's way more Michelles out there than will ever be Rihanna.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Yes.
That's what kids see. That is exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Because a lot of kids ruin their lives trying to chase Rihanna. That's like that little rabbit they put on the Greyhound race, and they race it, they put it around, and the dogs be chasing like they really got a chance to get it.
And hold up, Chris. Michelle Obama's doing all right because Barack.
Thank you very much.
Hold up. Hold up. Let me explain something to people who don't understand. No, Chris, they got to know this stuff sometime. Hold on, Chris. The owner of the Boston Celtics, he owned this big mansion in Martha's Vineyard. Guess who he sold it to? Michelle and Barack Obama. Now they the owner of the biggest mansion in Martha's Vineyard. So guess what? It's all right to be Michelle, and it's all right to be Barack too. Yeah, keep going.
And you know what? Here's the thing, though. This was missed on that. Even though I know Rick was trying to be facetious. Who you think got more power?
Yeah.
Who you think got more power? See, people understand there's money and there's power. Two different things. The president makes a couple $100,000 a year.
There you go.
And Michael Jordan might be a billionaire, but he ain't got no power.
There you go.
He ain't got no power. Let's get those straight. Because that dude that's sitting in that big chair, he got access to hundreds of dudes like him.
Chris.
You gotta understand, man, how the world. So you know, and that's where I'm looking at things from not from a different perspective, but again, going back to our original point with TJ, we got to understand, like, hey, if you go to Prairie View, or if you go to Texas Southern, and I'm not saying this, I've never been to a HBCU, right? So you guys can chop me up and say whatever you want, okay? But Mackenzie Scott giving $50 million is great. I want every Prairie View alum and every TSU alum to ask yourself, how much money do you give back to your university? Forget about, they don't do with the money. Or they just don't do this and they just don't do that. You don't think they do that at PWI?
Preach,
but
Chris.
them people give money back to their university, man.
Preach,
That's
Chris.
why the people have resources. We rely on the government and the states.
Hey, hold up. The government, who people we don't even vote for because we don't vote, to go put our people in there to be in the government to vote for our interests. But Chris, you said something key.
Let me tell you something crazy, Adam. In every urban city, you know what when we can win? We can win a mayoral. We can have a mayoral candidate that wins. Atlanta, Detroit, DC, Houston, right? Chicago, right? Mayor Lightfoot, Chicago. But guess what? We can't win. We can't win a governor race because it takes the whole state. In the same states where we win, where we can be a mayor, like Sylvester Turner,
right?
See if he can be a governor. And you know how many black governors we have in the history of the United States? I'll wait. I'll let y'all do the research on that.
Not many.
And people don't understand when they chop up Kamala Harris. Do you know how many black women that have ever ran for the Senate race and won?
Keep going,
The
Chris.
one that replaced Barack Obama, she didn't have to run. She was appointed. Kamala Harris ran and won.
Yeah. By Shirley Chisholm.
A long time ago. That's my point. That was 1972 before she ran for president. My point to y'all is, you know how many black governors
that
wasn't the governor of the Virgin Islands?
I remember Doug Wilder.
Barack Obama, he never did nothing. I say, y'all don't know what y'all talking about. That dude was the president of one of the most notoriously, again, in the past, just ugly racist stuff in this world. And that dude was a two-term president. You don't know what you're talking about. And if you know how Mitch McConnell and how government works, and even what they're going to do to Biden, you would understand what they would do with the resentment they would show Barack Obama. You would show some deference to what that man did. That man is one of the most black Americans to ever live. You have lost your mind, because if you haven't never been in politics, and Hannah, I know you know, and Jimmy, I know you know, and you see what TJ is going through right now, that dude was the president of the most powerful country in the world 2 times. And if he ran, he would win again.
And Chris, I want to add this to you, because I'm going to let you take this with you. Never confuse, y'all, position you have with power. Never confuse. I'm going to repeat it. Never confuse position with power. I'm going to show you why, Chris. Pharaoh had position, but Moses had the power. Herod had the position, but John had the power. The cross had the position, but Jesus had the power. Lincoln had the position, but Frederick Douglass had the power. Woodrow Wilson had the position, but Ida B. Wells had the power. Lyndon Baines Johnson had the position, but Martin Luther King had the power. We'll let you take that with you.
Oh, man, that's hey, listen. First of all, you need to make sure that all your listeners know who the hell you were talking about. That's the other problem. If they know Ida B. Wells or Lyndon Baines Johnson, you know what I'm saying? If they understand that, who signed the Civil Rights Act, not John F. Kennedy. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's hard to, guys, this is the last thing I'll say. If you don't know where you come from, it's hard to know where you're going. These kids today, I feel so bad for them, because they act like we live in a colorless world and things don't affect them, and it still does, good or bad. I'm beyond, like I said, I'm not complaining. I'm up to compete, guys. Listen, I don't care. You want to give me these shoes, and he got nice shoes. You want to give me that tracksuit? I got this tracksuit. I'm good for it. But here's what I don't want. It's a 100-yard race. He can't start at the 50, and I start at the 0. That's all I ask. You ain't got to give me better books than him. Wow. You know what I'm saying? Just start at the 50 and me start at the 0. That's all I ask. And then when there is some type of fairness that exists, and you bring it back to the 15, you bring them back to the 30, and you move me up to the 15, and I beat them, they say it's not fair.
Or I was cheating. We were cheating. It was rigged.
Exactly. Come on, man. We just got, like I said, man. I'm down for anything that promotes any type of common sense behavioral modification from our standpoint. I'm not looking at other cultures to change what's going on with us. I'm saying, Hatter, me, you, and Jimmy, what can we do?
Yeah.
3 educated black men with resources, and we got chutzpah. We know how to hustle and put things together. Now we need to galvanize other people and get rid of them. You know what I call them? Get rid of them willies. I don't know if y'all saw that Harriet Tubman movie.
Yes.
And there was the girl Issa Rae on Issa Rae, the movie, the show Insecure.
Yeah.
And the light skinned girl that she did her own little comedy special, the comedian.
Yeah.
And she said when Harriet Tubman was getting the Underground Railroad, she said, always a Willie. The Willie that ain't never been outside the plantation going, you sure we going the right way? Maybe we should go that way. Just like they did with Moses, Hatter. We always got some Willies out there. Just like they talking about them Karens. On black folks, we got them Willies. Okay? The ones that always say nothing can't change, and this is what we got to be where we at, or we can't do that. Them Willies, man. We need to get rid of them Willies, man. That's what we need to get rid of.
I'm glad to have you back, Chris. Chris, we got to get your studio back set up in your house so you can come on the show. Because I can't get that. I can't, because you've been reading my mail, Chris, because over the last few months, I was just talking about, I made a statement, Chris, about the collective. And that's all you talking about. I made a statement, Chris, a few months ago. I said, what if the high school coach, black high school coach, and the black summer basketball coach, what if they knew how much power that they had? I said, I'm talking about all over the country now. I'm not talking about Houston. What if they knew, the black high school coach that has the player and the black summer coach? What if they ever realize how much power? They have the power to send Shaka Smart, Penny Hardaway, Damon Stoudemire, Mike Boyne to the Final Four. One of them guys to the Final Four every year. We got the power in our hands.
Jim, hey, Hatter. Let me tell you something. You know, everybody's wearing that towel on the honor John Thompson.
Yes.
Okay? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know where Patrick Ewing came from? Boston, Massachusetts.
Yes.
Do you know who his high school coach was? Mike Jarvis. Do you know when John Thompson was the head coach of Georgetown in the late 70s, nobody knew who Georgetown was? And the Big East had just formed, and ESPN had just formed like in 1979. Right? Yep. So when they put the Big East together, they needed a showcase team, a showcase league. Mike Jarvis, Patrick Ewing could have went to North Carolina.
Yes.
He could have went to play for all them other schools. The same situation going on right now.
Yes.
Cade Cunningham, I said last night.
Love him.
It's amazing what kind of difference one player could make. Right?
Keep preaching.
John Thompson Georgetown became a powerhouse, an icon, because Patrick Ewing chose to go there. Cade Cunningham, I love Mike Boyne. He's a good coach.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you right now, I don't know what would happen if Cade Cunningham didn't choose to go there.
Yes.
That's what one player can do.
Yes. That's the power we have. That's the power we have. Chris, think about Mike Jarvis. And Chris, let's tell the story right now. If you'd have read that book, I Came as a Shadow, those people in Boston were about to go crazy when Patrick Ewing chose. Start talking negative about Georgetown.
Absolutely. And I was just thinking in this, these situations, it wasn't just TJ.
Right.
It was Isaac Brown before in the same time.
Yes.
At Wichita State.
Yes.
So Zeke Brown, He was a longtime assistant coach over that program. That program went through a great deal of embarrassment over the past year. Players had remember 6 players had got into the transfer portal from Wichita State. 6 a year ago, and this guy kept everything tried his best to keep things together. Think about it: 6 players gone. Most of them were starters, and you're still able to salvage enough talent and lure enough more to beat the number 5 team in the country, University of Houston. You still made enough progress to go and make that program into a NCAA tournament automatic bid team this season. They just gave him a contract 2 weeks ago.
He deserved it.
Well, he had long deserved it. Think about it. And so you think about a guy like TJ. So now the next guy's up. Not even mentioning the guys that are way far more deserving of getting head gigs that even just dwell in the state of Texas. I'm looking over at Prairie View. Byron Smith, they're in first place again. They're undefeated.
He's done a phenomenal job.
Prairie View, dude, at Prairie View, he's able to lure the starting point guard from Nebraska last season. Is the starting point guard at Prairie View. And people walking around Houston and walking around Dallas thinking in their mind, well, they looking at other schools. Well, man, we might go here, we might go there. Oh, I don't know. We might just go to Prairie View, man. We can probably go walk and play well. And play well. Jackson State is undefeated. Prairie View is undefeated. TSU is in 3rd place. Southern is right behind them. Most of their rosters are transfers, grown men.